Can you really retire with this bull run in XRP? This is a question few people have asked me in the recent days. And this is what I would really like to say. That really depends on what your targets are and where you live. But if you actually look at what these charts show you, it kind of gives you an idea that yes, it really can do that for you. But yes, obviously, if you're in a place where they're going to have 50% of your capital gains away, that's a hard question. Because after that, you would be paying another 10 to 15% in sales tax. So like 16, 17, 60, 70% of whatever you gained is done in taxes. So you need to actually look for which place you want to live. And if you decide to live in that place where it's going to tax you 70%, now, yeah, you should have millions of XRP for that case. If not, if you are in a region where you're going to be taxed 10, 15, 20%, and your sales tax is like 10, overall you're going to be paying 20, 30%, you still keep 70%, yeah, most likely even 25 to 50,000 units of XRP can be helpful, push you to financial freedom. Yes, in that case, you may be able to retire just with 25 to 50,000 units of XRP. But yes, for sure, you need to be in that geographical region where they don't cut your throat with taxes and your cost of living is comparatively much lower. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. Right now, while you go through the crypto market, we do see a lot of opportunities coming in, but the short-term fluctuations are going to create some panic. And it already is creating some confusion in the market for sure. But while we try to answer the actual question, can we really retire with XRP in this run? If you only have XRP in your portfolio, if that's the only asset you have, now the risk is high. Yes, these targets look really decent. Yes, it actually shows you historically we have done even better. So even if you be conservative or optimistic, somewhere in between that is going to be the price for sure. And that will allow you to easily take a huge chunk of profit out of the market. But the question is, yeah, you made that amount of profit, but how much of that can you really keep with you? That is a huge part. I've seen people in United States moving to Puerto Rico, to create that tax base on that area. But again, the question is, do they have that infrastructure? If you want to move out there as a family, do they have everything your family needs? That kind of question becomes important for those who have a family, right? So while we discuss through the one-on-one sessions, we go through all these different possibilities. So you need to be in a different area. And if you're a US citizen, there's a lot of different stuff. Whether you are Canadian, you have to manage all those. But if you have access to different parts of the world where, say, the BRICS nations, if you take India, if you take China, or say other parts of Asia like Singapore, you don't have capital gains in Singapore. If you are in India, it's like long-term capital gain, it's 10%. The cost of living is much lower, right? So once you consider all of those, you can easily retire, maybe even with just 20,000 units of XRP with all these big numbers popping. But yeah, obviously, if you're going to buy a lumber for that, yeah, it's done. You buy a depreciating asset and make it a liability. That's not retirement. So the first point you need to ask is, do you have financial literacy? Are you well educated financially? If so, yeah, most likely you're all gonna get that return from this asset. Now, why am I saying that right now? Because when you look at the market, it does show you, yeah, that technology works. The solution design is crystal. And all of them are continuing their work with this institution. And on the other end, you kind of see like, the SEC is getting hammered again as they try to do all this BS, right? And then you see like, okay, right now, if you actually look at how the financial world and the political world is slowly moving towards crypto, it kind of shows you like, okay, big companies like Apple, Microsoft, they can actually put in Bitcoin on their balance sheets. That's how they all enter the crypto market. The next thing is the liquidity. If they have enough liquidity, yeah, they're going to try other assets. XRP right now has the legal clarity in the United States if an institution want to buy it. Now that kind of gives you the idea of which direction this asset is going. And I saw one interesting question by XRP Avengers highlighting the fact that, XRP distribution among top 100 accounts versus all the other accounts. So if you actually keep your mind on this and ask like, okay, if you're really waiting for $1,000, $10,000, $20,000 per XRP, you need to keep in mind those guys who have 10 million XRP, 50 million XRP, 100 million XRP, do you think they're going to wait till that price point, or they're going to start selling at $10, $20, $30 as we go up? I think they may even start at $5. So 5, 10, 15, 20, max 30, they are going to take huge chunk out of the market, which would say a lot of new XRP is going to come into the market. The supply increases, the price should correct back down. That is something you have to consider, and that's why these kind of ideas becomes really important. Now, what's it? We'll try and break it down one by one, and I'll try to be slow enough. XRP is at a trend line support. It's above the moving average, and it's a weekly chart, not a 4-hour or a daily, which means it's significant enough as a retest. You broke higher, you're consolidating there, you had an impulse with the news for sure, and now you're coming back to retest that. Why is that important? 1 week worth of move to the upside has now taken almost 8 weeks to the downside. So the bears don't have enough strength to kick all the buyers outside. 2, if you actually look at that and just consider that fluctuation, the Fib kind of gives you an idea like, we're going somewhere close to $2, $2.2 as a short-term move. Now, yes, that's just the short-term move which we are watching, which can be around a 300% run. That is a decent one, but I'm not saying that will allow you to retire. I'm saying that's a short-term opportunity in the market if you are looking at that point. But then, if you actually understand where that brings the price, this is what it looks like. That means the macro cup and handle pattern coming back up here kind of gives you also a double bottom kind of pattern breaking to the upside with a massive ROI structure. And if you actually plot that, you kind of understand like, okay, you're looking somewhere like $28, $30. At the same time, you go back in history, you want to see like, okay, what does using Fib mean in these? Yeah, they always give you a conservative target, not anywhere near to the targets. But, if you are that guy, you want that complete safety, take profit, move out. I don't really care how high the price goes, but I have $100,000 invested in the market. If I make a couple of $1 million, I'm moving out. If that's you, that's going to be helpful because it's going to show you like, okay, these targets have always been achieved. The price has gone way higher than that. Now, if you're trying to optimize what the market can do and what you can do in reaction to that, then I would say, okay, look at this. First time, it was 200% above what the Fib gave you. Next time, it was 300% above that. Finally, it was like 15x above what the Fib was showing you. So you kind of get an idea like, okay, if I want to stay conservative even in that fact without being too much optimistic, then what you're trying to do there is, okay, let me say I'll just take the 200 instead of the 300 or the 15x, and you plot that. What do you see? The first run up can go somewhere close to $5, $6, and there will be some current type of correction for sure. It can be 50, 60% worth of correction, and we don't know how long it's going to be. Last time was really short. In a month, it was done. We went back up. This time, it can be a couple of months or a quarter. We really don't know. We'll have to watch. But after that comes the next point, which kind of gives you an idea somewhere close to $30. And that's what we have seen here in the macro structure, right? Once you break this range, you have that measured move. So that should be your second impulsive wave completing at that territory. Now, the next thing which actually, we are instead of 15x, we're just taking 200%. And that brings you somewhere close to $50. And that's actually a big price point. Now, that's like 100x from where we are right now. So At this point, you need to ask that question, okay, if those guys are selling you $1,000 per XRP, and even at this price point, if you buy it, by this time you're already 100x, why wouldn't you take profit? I'm like, if you wouldn't, let me know in the comments, like, why wouldn't you do that at 10x, 20x, 30x when your portfolio balloons? If you're like, I'm the man of steel, my nerves are of steel and I'm going to hold, maybe you have some reason saying, okay, for next 10 years, I don't need this money. I'm going to hold on XRP. I truly believe next 10 years is going to be the real price to value. But in between, you will have this volatility, which you can actually benefit off if you try to, stay in the market. You don't have to time it better, because as it goes up, some way at some point, it will get rejected. It will slowly go back down 80, 90, 95% in correction. So if you want to reload, you can load it up at that point. So now, yeah, that's the macro narrative. We understand that's the possibility. But then you come on to the short term. You want to see what exactly is happening here. If you actually look at all these areas where the price has bottomed, you kind of notice the fact that some of these times it has been like 20%. Some of these times it has been 30%. But on average, you'll see 10 to 13% drop. But yes, we have seen 30, 35% drop too. Here we got 20 and here we are somewhere close to 17. So I'm like, okay, all these short-term scenarios are giving you an idea, saying like, yeah, we may have that range where we are already getting supported. Now, yeah, Bitcoin drops, Bitcoin does a shakeout, all those will play out in the price action. But short term, you are actually obeying this trend line. And that's actually showing you like, okay, that's a crazy thing, because usually what happens in the price action is like, say, if you obey this trend line long enough, you will bounce off from that range. Initially, it was being resisted here. No argument like it was not, right? You were getting resisted. But at one point, that was broken. And after that, boom, you went down. Now, that's to the downside. The max you can do is 100%, which means the opposite, when it comes, it's going to go sky high. Now, think about this. When the rates go up, the rates go down, how do assets fluctuate? If you actually know how they really do in terms of the stock market, the bond market and all, you really know how much upside we have in this market. Now, yeah, that's XRP. Now, you'll have to look at Bitcoin. You'll have to look at what's happening around the crypto market. All that's true. We saw some kind of bounce here. And if you actually zoom in, you'll actually watch like, okay, we got that bounce. We are retesting that range, but we are not actually sustaining that bounce. Someone is selling here. Someone is trying to push the price lower, or at least to keep it at this range. Because once you understand the fact that the macro is showing you massively bullish signal, and the price action is trying to flirt with that moving average on a monthly, we want to actually see this month coming back up above this. If not, that's not actually a good sign, because when you actually go on a weekly, you're still above this, which is a massively bullish signal. It's acting as a retest, because if you actually go back in time and look at what the price action has done, this was like a V-shaped recovery. So that was a macro panic shakeout. Other than that, if you actually look at each time when you broke higher or to the downside, you will actually watch that the price action was showing you something about the future direction. So that means here you broke to the downside, you retested, you got rejected. Right now, you're doing just the opposite, which means you broke to the upside. That was a great thing. You're retesting that. You need to bounce off. So yes, this asset can also trend back higher, because that's exactly what we have seen over the past. You break higher, you come back down to retest that, and then you bounce off. So historically speaking, going back 5, 6, 7, 8 years, you kind of give the understanding, okay, that's what we are looking at. So short term, don't try to FOMO in. There are a lot of assets showing you different ROI structures. Some of them are monstrous, I agree, but always be balanced. When you see one asset can actually do a 500x, don't put your entire portfolio there. What if that project goes bankrupt? Right? That's why we try to actually manage our portfolio in a positive way. If that project goes bankrupt, it doesn't matter. we have a lot of fundamental assets. If that actually does something magnificent, we are on top of it, right? That kind of portfolio system has to be implemented, and we are trying to do that in the SI family. And if you are interested in looking at that kind of things about different assets, what you should be looking at the market, different opportunities, and some of the huge possible movers in the market, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. So guys, if you haven't hit that like button, please do that. I'd be really happy about that. So guys, if you have any questions, do let me know in the comment section below, and I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.